Well, let's get more on this now with Colin Harding. He's the former Latin America editor for The Independent and the director of the consultancy Latinform. He joins us now from Manchester in the UK. Welcome back to the program, Colin. Venezuelans have marked the 20th anniversary of an attempt to overthrow the socialist leader Hugo Chavez. He held a tight grip on power since then until his death in 2013. Tell us more about his legacy. Was he able to make Venezuela a more equal society?
To some extent, yes. The social programs that have already been mentioned, the so-called missions, did improve the welfare of people who've largely struggled to make a living. This lasted as long as there was lots of oil money to distribute, which Chavez spent lavishly. Not always wisely. A lot of the money was wasted. For instance, the oil company was given the job of importing cheap food, and a lot of it just stayed in warehouses until it rotted. And there were many cases of corruption, of incompetence, and so on. But he did make some impact, and of course, this made him very popular, particularly with housing in low-income areas, and this helped to bolster his popularity even when things were going wrong.
Now, we know that the economic situation in Venezuela at the moment is deteriorating. Inflation is said to be at around 280%, which is actually an improvement on what it has been in the past. Can you tell us what's responsible for the current economic conditions in Venezuela? Is it the fact that countries like the US have made it all but impossible for Venezuela to export its most precious commodity, oil?
That's certainly the narrative of the government. They blame all their problems on a combination of imperialist pressures and conspiracy by the entrenched elites who are still determined to overthrow the advances of the revolution. A lot of it is to do with government incompetence, corruption, and a general lack of direction. I mean, the Maduro government has largely focused in recent years on securing its own position and rather losing sight of the original aims of Hugo Chavez. And he has managed, President Maduro has managed to construct a highly effective security apparatus and relying very heavily on the military and on the security agencies, which have been heavily influenced by Cuban methods. Cuban advisors have played a very prominent role. And the opposition, which tried to overthrow him, that had even set up a parallel government, have eventually come to the realization that he can't be overthrown, that he is solidly in power. It doesn't matter what a disastrous situation the country is in economically, and the welfare of the people is on the floor, but he can't actually be dislodged. He clearly would lose an election. Maduro would have no chance if a free election took place, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. But the opposition has come to the view that it is necessary, a necessary evil to try and to negotiate with the Maduro government. And there were 3 rounds of negotiations in Mexico last year, sponsored by the Norwegians, which made some progress, but not much. They were suspended, and then Maduro has now said that he's prepared to go back to the negotiating table, so we'll have to see where that leads.
Okay, Colin Harding, we will have to leave it there, but it was really good to get your analysis. Thank you once again for joining us on TRT World.